Evening. As chair of the Gwinnett County Board of Education, I hereby call to order the October 16th, 2025 business meeting of the board. I extend a warm welcome to everyone present for tonight's meeting. The board, Dr. Taylor, and I are pleased that you have joined us as we celebrate achievements, review information, and make policy decisions related to the effective operation of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen on my left, where you'll see the school board's core beliefs and commitments. Beginning in August, our core beliefs and commitments will be on display during our business meeting, during our school board meetings, during our business school board meetings. These statements aren't just words. They reflect the guiding principles that shape every decision we make and every goal we set. They serve as a compass for our district, reminding us of our shared responsibility to foster a learning environment where every student can thrive. I encourage you to take a moment to read them carefully, as they are central to the work we do together as educators, leaders, and community members. The board began meeting at 2 p.m. for our monthly work session. During work sessions, we hear reports on student achievement, school operations, and system-wide initiatives. We may also discuss items that the board will be acting upon in tonight's business meeting. Please visit our board agenda online next week to see any of the detailed reports from the work session. The monthly business meetings of the board are open to the public. We are grateful for the number of people interested in our schools who are in attendance this evening. This business meeting is when the board conducts its business of governing the school system in a public arena. The business meetings are not meetings with the public. Therefore, comments from the audience will be confined to the time designated for citizens to address the board according to policy BCBI. Speakers are encouraged to maintain appropriate meeting decorum, follow appropriate protocols, protect the confidentiality of students, prevent defamatory statements, and ensure the impartiality of the board. The board requests that speakers not speak directly about individual students, parents, or staff members. Thank you for embracing these qualities and modeling them for our children and our community during tonight's meeting. Please silence your cell phones or communication devices before we begin our proceedings. I would like to call to the podium Pastor John Stallsmith of Grace Snellville Church to lead us into a moment of reflection, followed by the Discovery High School Army JROTC under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Robert Rooker, U.S. Army, Retired Major Kelvin Acosta, U.S. Army, Retired, and First Sergeant Jason Dotson, U.S. Army Retired, who will present the colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Stallsmith.
Good evening, Chair Dr. Simmons, board members, thank you for your service. Dr. Taylor, if you would please stand. And as Dr. Simmons said, my name is Pastor John Stallsmith. I have 3 children, all at Brookwood Elementary School, and I bring you greetings and well wishes on behalf of Grace Snellville next to Brookwood High School. Thank you for asking me to be a part of this meeting tonight. And as we come together, may we demonstrate wisdom, integrity, respect, and grace in our interactions with each other. Let us acknowledge the many good things around us and ways we can be a blessing to others. Thank you to those in the audience who lend their leadership. I know we have many excellent principals here, as well as those who serve our schools and our community. We also extend appreciation to the many individuals, our families, teachers, others in the community who support public education and our public school students. Finally, let us keep the children of Gwinnett County in mind as we speak, act, and make decisions tonight. And with that in mind, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence for personal reflection on our students, our school district, and our greater community. Thank you. I ask that you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color guard, attention. Carry colors. Forward, march. Colors, hold. Left, face. Present, arms.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Order, arms. Right, face. Forward, march.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Stallsmith and the Discovery High School Army JROTC for being part of this meeting. We move next to students' public comments. Students addressing the board, you will notice 2 side podiums. Please proceed to the podium closest to where you are sitting. At this time, Jasmine Caballero, please approach the podium, followed by Jackson Caballero. You are allotted a maximum of 3 minutes for comments.
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Caballero. I'm a 5th grader at Ivy Creek Elementary School. In the last year, we've been coming to these board meetings to give you my opinion that schools should be safer. In September 2024, at Appalachia High School, a shooting occurred too close to home. After that shooting happened, I was worried for my school. There's one thing we can do to stop guns from coming into schools. That is weapon detectors. Yes, I know you're spending $26 million to get weapon detectors in high school and middle schools, but I believe there are different ways of how we can come up with the money. Like, for example, fundraising. We can start by doing the fundraiser at Ivy Creek Elementary School. And if there's one thing that Ivy Creek is good at, is being an example to everyone. We go through the weapon detectors everywhere. Just like fire alarms and lockdown drills, weapon detectors are another way to prevent harm and protect students, teachers, and staff. When schools increase safety, more parents are more comfortable about sending their kids to school. Have you ever heard of a shooting at a Taylor Swift concert? No, because they had weapon detectors. Shouldn't we get the same treatment of safety? I get that there's a bigger chance that an older kid in middle school or high school is more likely to bring a gun to school. but we've seen it happen this year. Also, a lot of adults come into the school during the week to either eat with their kid or help out with a school project. The adults have more access to a gun. Some people think their kid will be scared to go through the weapon detector. Well, explain this to me. When you go to the airport with your kids or Disney World with your kids, they're not scared of going through the weapon detectors. You just walk through the detector not even knowing. Thank you for listening to me about telling you why we should have weapon detectors in elementary schools. I hope you will consider putting weapon detectors in elementary schools. Thank you and have a good night.
Next up, Jackson Caballero, followed by Jordan Caballero.
Good evening. My name is Jackson Caballero, and I'm in second grade at Ivy Creek Elementary School. Today I'm here to continue to speak about something very important, keeping our schools safe. Being at school is one of the best feelings ever. It's where we learn new things every day and make friends. For all this to happen, I believe everyone should feel safe. This is why I believe having weapon detectors in school is a great idea. I know recently weapon detectors were installed in middle school and high school, but I would love to have them in elementary schools also. Recently, it came to my attention that a deadly weapon was brought into an elementary school. Thank God no one was hurt, but this should have never happened and could have been avoided with having weapon detector. When we have weapon detectors, it can act as an extra helper at the door that is always watching out for us. With weapon detectors, we don't have to be scared at the one place in our lives. That's we should feel safe. When we know we're safe, we can focus on what really matters, like learning, and we can do our best work. Thank you for listening, and remember, a safe school is a happy school for everyone.
Jordan Caballero. Okay, thank you. Justice Brown, roll. Justice? Okay. Students, thank you for your comments this evening. We move next to the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Taylor, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I have no changes to the agenda.
Board members, do you have any changes to the agenda? Board members, do I have a motion regarding the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda for the October 16, 2025 business meeting.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Next, we will have board recognitions. Dr. Taylor, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Simmons. For our two recognitions this evening, I will actually be joining Jay Nebel, Interim Chief of Schools, at the podium. Mr. Nebel.
Chairperson Dr. Simmons, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Taylor, it's my pleasure tonight to have the opportunity to recognize a number of our schools for their achievements. First, we're going to recognize Title I Distinguished and Reward Schools. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Trika Williams, Executive Director of Federal Programs, whose leadership and commitment to advancing student success and school improvement are instrumental in our work in supporting Title I schools. Today, she joins us to help recognize the outstanding accomplishments of principals whose schools have earned distinguished and reward school status. Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Nebel. Good evening, Chairwoman Dr. Simmons, our esteemed board, and Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor. It is my honor to introduce the exceptional school leaders whose schools have been recognized by the Georgia Department of Education through its Academic Achievement Awards program. This recognition celebrates Title I schools that have demonstrated excellence in two distinct categories. One, Title I Distinguished Schools. Title I Distinguished Schools rank among the top 5% of Title I schools in Georgia for their highest absolute performance based on statewide assessments. The second category is Title I Reward Schools. These schools are also in the top 5% of statewide achievement, and this is the recognition that is made based on the most progress in improving student performance over the past 2 years. Tonight, we celebrate 5 Title I Gwinnett County Public Schools and the dedicated leaders who represent them. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Paula Thompson, principal of our Cato Elementary School, Reward School. Principal Kara Dutton, who's not able to be here with us tonight, but she is represented by Assistant Principal Karen Dougherty, Jackson Elementary School, Distinguished School. Principal Brian Walker, Mountain Park Elementary School, Distinguished. Dr. Jonathan Wetherington, Principal of Paul Duke STEM High School, Distinguished. And last but certainly not least, Dr. Leslie Hill, Principal of Tripp Elementary School, Distinguished. Thank you all for your commitment to excellence. Please join me in congratulating these fabulous principals and their teams.
All right, thank you, Dr. Williams. Board members, earlier today you heard details about our class of 2025 and their achievements. This evening we are proud to recognize 12 of our 23 traditional high schools for achieving a graduation rate of 90% or higher in the class of 2025. While our focus this evening is on these 12, I do want to be clear that tonight we also celebrate all of our schools and the progress and achievements they've made, and for their continued work in supporting the academic success of each and every student. Tonight is also a celebration and a recognition of the 13,604 graduates from the class of 2025. It's important to celebrate and recognize these achievements as we continue to seek to improve. This evening, I'll be calling upon the principal of each high school who achieved a 90% or higher graduation rate to receive a certificate and a banner to display proudly at their school. However, we know that each graduation is a culmination of 13 years of learning, so I do want to remind us that our celebration this evening is not just for our high school principals, but for each school in the community they serve as well. We will now call up each principal and ask them to remain standing here to be recognized. Thank you to our principals for coming before the meeting for the group photo and for being here now. First, we're going to recognize Archer High School with a graduation rate of 93.8%. Principal Dr. Kankisha Thompson. This is an increase of 3.8% from 2024 and the second consecutive year for Archer High School to have a graduation rate of over 90%. Brookwood High School, the graduation rate of 94.1%. Principal Dr. Brett Savage. Brookwood High School has maintained a graduation rate above 90% since at least 2016. Grayson High School. Principal Rakina Stewart cannot be here this evening, so she's represented by our assistant principal, Ms. Nikki Withrow. Grayson High School has maintained a graduation rate of above 90% since at least 2016 as well. The Gwinnett School of Mathematics, Science, and Technology with a graduation rate of 100%. Principal Logan Malm. This is the second consecutive year that GSMST has celebrated a graduation rate of 100% for its graduates. Lanier High School, with a graduation rate of 94.8%. Principal, Dr. Christopher Martin. This is the second consecutive year that Lanier has celebrated a graduation rate of over 90%. McClure Health Science High School, with a graduation rate of 92.6%. Principal, Dr. Gypsy Hernandez. This continues the school's performance of having a graduation rate of over 90% since the school's opening. Mill Creek High School, with a graduation rate of 93.9%. Principal, Jason Lane. Mill Creek High School has maintained a graduation rate of over 90% since at least 2016. Mountain View High School, with a graduation rate of 91.6%. Principal, Stephanie Stewart. Mountain View High School achieved a graduation rate of over 90% in 2020, then increased its graduation rate to rejoin the 90% club this year. North Gwinnett High School, with a graduation rate of 97.4%. Principal, Nathan Ballantyne. North Gwinnett High School has maintained a graduation rate above 90% since at least 2016, and this is their highest graduation rate to date. Paul Duke STEM High School, a graduation rate of 90.4%. Principal, Dr. Jonathan Wetherington. This is Paul Duke's third consecutive year of having a graduation rate of over 90%. Peachtree Ridge High School, the graduation rate of 94.8%. Principal, Jad Jarzynski. This is the fourth consecutive year that Peachtree Ridge has boasted a graduation rate of above 90%. Seconder High School, with a graduation rate of 97.4%. Principal, Jimmy Fisher. This continues the school's performance of having a graduation rate of over 90% since the school's opening. Again, we want to congratulate the school communities you see represented by the high school principals behind us for achieving a 90% or higher graduation rate for the class of 2025. Please join me in a round of applause as we celebrate these school communities. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor, and congratulations to all of our principals for the awards this evening. At this time, those recognized may quietly leave the boardroom or stay for the remainder of the meeting. We move next to consent agenda items for approval. The consent agenda allows the Board of Education to act on routine items of business as a series. Our first item on the consent agenda is 6.02, purchase orders. This is an informational item and is comprised of a monthly report that lists all purchase orders of $2,000 or more. For each item, the following are identified: the vendor, items purchased, destination of the items, budget account, dollar amount, and method of purchase. Board members, are there any comments or questions? The action items on the consent agenda are 6.03B-232696NR, Industrial Engineering Supplies Catalog Discount. 6.04B-2413KM, On-Demand HVAC Services. 6.05, Head Elementary School HVAC Modifications. 6.06, McGill Elementary School HVAC Modifications. 6.07, Mason Elementary School HVAC Modifications. 6.08, Decula Middle School and Fort Daniel Elementary School Roof Replacement. 6.09, Berkeley Lake Elementary School Roof Replacement. 6.10, GA-2509AM, Online Marketplace for the purchase of products and services from Amazon. 6.11, B-2502AM, On-Demand Translation and Interpretation Services. 6.12, B-2604BM, Audiovisual Equipment. 6.13, approval of minutes for board meeting held on September 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion regarding the action items on the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve items 6.03 through 6.13 on the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Ms. Stone. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. We move next to interim superintendent's reports. Dr. Taylor?
Board members, you have heard the monthly Human Resources report this afternoon in executive session that included a list of all employees being hired, taking a leave of absence, and terminating employment. I would like to call attention to the leadership appointments that were discussed in executive session and are being recommended to you for approval, along with the other personnel mentioned during executive session. I am recommending Wendy McDonald for the position of principal at Gwynn Oaks Elementary School with an effective date of January 2nd, 2026, and Hunter McCray for the position of principal at Jordan Middle School with an effective date of January 2nd, 2026. Chair Dr. Simmons, I recommend approval of the monthly Human Resources report.
Do I have a motion regarding the monthly Human Resources report?
I make a motion to approve the monthly Human Resources report.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
Item 7.02 is the monthly financial report as of August 31st, 2025. The reports are from the financial records kept at the central office and do not include local school financial records that reflect receipts and disbursements at each school. It also includes a copy of our sales tax receipts for SPLOS 6. I recommend approval of the monthly financial report.
Do I have a motion regarding the monthly financial report?
I make a motion to approve the August 31st, 2025 monthly financial report.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Knudsen. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor, next item.
Item 7.03 on the agenda, 2022 through 2027 Building Program and Construction Report, is for your information only. This report is a listing of all construction projects funded by the 2022 through 2027 Building Program budget. It also provides the current status and scheduled completion date of each project. If any of you would like an update on any specific project, we have staff on hand that can provide you with that information.
Board members, are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Does this include getting rid of some of our trailers? Does this?
No, these are more of the kind of the buildings and when the construction projects and such are going to be completed.
Okay, it just says from 2027, so I was wondering if the plan included.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah.
Any other discussion? Dr. Taylor?
The board annually adopts a calendar of critical activities and dates that comprise the budget development cycle for the coming fiscal year. During the September 18th business meeting, the board was asked to review the proposed calendar of activities and dates associated with the adoption of fiscal year 2027 budget. The calendar is now being presented for your approval. I recommend approval of the fiscal year 2027 budget calendar.
Do I have a motion regarding the fiscal year 2027 budget development calendar?
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2027 budget development calendar.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I want to share that this is an opportunity for community to provide feedback as we go throughout the budget process and look through the calendar. You all will have opportunities to share with the board what you need, your preferences, suggestions. Right now, we do have a survey out. We encourage you all to please complete the survey for the budget calendar, and for our budget. And we also will have opportunities for you all to share in person with the board during our hearings. And we encourage you all to also send us emails related to things that may be of concern for you related to our budget. Also want to thank our school system for starting this process earlier and really intentionally engaging the board in the process sooner. And I do find it very helpful. So thank you, Masana Millard, for and your team for your work and intentionality regarding inclusion of the board in this process earlier. Thank you.
I echo that sentiment of starting the work early. And for those that have not completed the survey, I encourage you to do so. In our last budget season, the district was sure to provide us with a summary of the survey. One of the number one priorities that we heard from you all was investment in security and safety, hence the purchase and installation of the weapon detectors. So know that our board takes seriously the feedback that we receive from the community, and please, please take the time to make your voice heard so that you can influence budgeting decisions in the upcoming months. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. We move next to student discipline. By law, matters related to student discipline appeals, expulsions, and/or petitions for readmission must be discussed in executive or closed session. Georgia law further requires board members to affirm in the public business meeting the action taken in executive session. The first item of business under student discipline is the monthly tribunal summary. Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly tribunal summary as presented in executive session?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding the monthly tribunal summary.
I have a motion by Ms. Stone. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Mr. Gasper. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Board members, do I have a motion regarding student discipline appeals as presented in executive session?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding student discipline appeals.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor, new business is up next.
Item 9.01 on the agenda, proposed 2026 school board meeting calendar, is for your information only. Board members, you are asked to review the proposed dates for the Board of Education's 2026 regular monthly business meetings. These dates will be on the table for review for 2 months and will be presented for approval at the December 18th, 2025 board meeting. And of course, there are some continued discussions around the structure and format that we discussed during the work session, but we would like to try to have this finalized by the December meeting.
Board members, are there any questions or comments?
I noticed that there was, in September, the only date proposed other than the third Thursday. What's the reason behind that shift?
That's traditionally the week for the SLV visit. It was going to be conflicting with the board meeting.
Okay, great, thanks.
One of the things that I did ask Dr. Taylor to look into was the idea of whether or not we really need a board meeting, a business meeting, and a work session in both June and July. I know there are some metro area systems that have been able to conduct their business in the absence of one of those meetings because school is not necessarily in full session. So that is something that I've asked him to look into to see if that's something we need to continue or something that we could reconsider. And I'm sure you'll bring us back any information that's needed to discuss if that's something that the board might want to consider, if it's a possibility. Any other discussion there? All right. Dr. Taylor?
Board members, changes have been made in accordance with policy guidance and/or mandates in state and/or federal law for policy IDE, competitive interscholastic activities, grades 6 through 12. In our work session this afternoon, the proposed draft was reviewed and discussed. Chair Dr. Simmons, I recommend that this policy, with revisions, be placed on the table until the November 20th, 2025 business meeting to provide constituents an opportunity for feedback.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the interim superintendent's recommendation?
I make a motion to have policy IDE, competitive interscholastic activities, grades 6 through 12, laid on the table for 30 days or our next scheduled board meeting pending feedback. If revisions are needed following posting on our website, they will be presented for board consideration during the business meeting on November 20th, 2025.
I have a motion by Mr. Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Next, we will have constituents' comments regarding policy and/or school operations. Davis Clark, please approach the podium closest to you. Jeremy Cavallero, you are on deck at the other podium. Thank you.
Good evening. And let me start by saying that the issue I'm about to present it pales in comparison to what I heard the two young students say before at the beginning of the board meeting. So I hope above all else that the issue of school security is treated seriously. But the reason that I'm standing up here today is I'm a substitute for the county, and I have been for the past 5 to 6 years, not counting COVID. But substitutes, when we returned from COVID, were given an incentive, a $500 bonus to be paid for all those that achieved a certain number of days for the county each semester. At first, I thought the issue was simply my own carelessness, basically. However, I've been informed just in the last few hours by someone in payroll for the county that multiple substitute teachers have not been receiving the incentive payment because the one resource that we have, ASOP Frontline, which is used to keep track of our schedules and how often we work, shows that we've completed jobs that the county then turns around with other resources and says that were not completed, or just kidding, basically. Days that were canceled for a variety of reasons, days that shouldn't count due to technicalities, things of that nature. And this has happened to me twice now over the last year and a half. And like I said, if it had just happened to me, I would consider it just something to really shrug off at my own idiocy. But it's not. And I have spoken to someone within payroll, but they weren't sure if the board was aware of this issue that is occurring with substitutes, that every day going to school, students determined to push their buttons because they're a visitor. And $500 is a lot of money, and for an incentive to be put out there and for sub-coordinators to try helping along with the incentive different members of Gwinnett County, saying things like, you can work this day, half-day assignment and this half-day assignment on the same day, and it'll count as 2 different assignments toward your incentive. Substitutes simply say, that's great, and they don't think about it again, only to get to the end of the semester and be expecting that they've done enough to receive that incentive and having the rug kind of pulled out from under them. So I do ask that changes are made to ASOP Frontline, and I do also ask that, not for myself, but for the other substitutes that have come forward or to the payroll department of Gwinnett County the last few years to say, we thought we were receiving money that we ended up not getting, but the one resource we had said we received it. I ask that you look into giving them that money on top of changes to the website.
Thank you. Jeremy Cavallero, followed by Elizabeth Cavallero.
Good evening. I'd like to start by expressing my joy and gratitude for the wise and thoughtful decision by this board to invest in the safety of our older students implementing the Evolve systems this year. The installation of weapons detectors in all middle schools and high schools is a huge achievement in safety. A thank you for everyone involved in making that decision. You've made our secondary schools abundantly safer. But tonight, we have to ask a critical question. Why not our elementary schools? Our mission is clear: end mass shootings in schools by securing them the same way we secure airports, concerts, sporting events, and government buildings, and yes, even Disney World. We scan every man, woman, and child, including our youngest kids, before they enter Disney to ensure they come home alive. We mandate that level of protection for a theme park, and then we must mandate it for the place our children spend the most of their days. The current plan in place leaves an unacceptable gap. We're mandated to send children to school, and I mandate that they're protected while they're there. It's a promise we owe to all parents, and elementary school students are no different from their older siblings. A gun entering an elementary school has the same devastating potential as one entering a high school. We know what stops this from happening at an airport or a stadium: weapons detectors and proper door security. It's a practical, immediate, and effective defense. Now, some have misconceptions about how this works, or the speed of students' entry, or its overall effectiveness. This is a tried and true, dedicated safety process. Furthermore, the data shows it's not a compromise to school environment, and schools that use weapons detectors report better attendance, fewer suspensions, less fighting, and an overall greater sense of safety and well-being. It isn't just security, it's an investment in a better learning environment. And if the concern to protecting our elementary schools is the daily experience of our little ones, then let's start by scanning every adult who enters the building. It's a reasonable compromise, significantly increases the security for our most vulnerable students. And we're not waiting for a crisis to define our actions. We're figuring out the root cause, and we're going to address it. Now, we're working with state legislators right now, like House Majority Leader Chuck Efstration, to find a permanent funding solution, and we believe a majority of people share our conviction. This is the only way to keep our kids safe. We urge everyone who is listening to my message tonight, go on to Facebook. Our page is called Why Not Our Schools. Support us there. Engage your local representatives. Call them today, call them tomorrow. Let your voice be heard. Thank you.
Elizabeth Cavallero, followed by Mark Calloway.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys for letting us speak tonight. It has been almost 12 months since my family and I have attended these meetings, as well as the Gwinnett County safety meetings. Our goal is not to just attend, but to stand up and speak on school safety for our kids. As parents, our main priority is to protect our children. We are thankful for the weapons detectors in middle and high schools. We are grateful for the investments in safety. Our ask tonight is that we consider installing these weapons detectors in elementary schools. Like my kids spoke on earlier, adults come and go throughout the day at our kids' schools. All it takes is one evil person with a gun to take the innocent lives of our kids, and they don't return home for dinner or bedtime that night. Being clear, we want all schools in Gwinnett to install weapons detectors and keep our kids safe. I also want to ask about trailers. What is the long-term plan for trailers? We see more and more communities being built throughout our neighborhood alone, just in Buford. We're in the Seconder cluster. We cannot secure these trailers or the kids walking in and out of them throughout the day. My son is in the gifted program at Ivy Creek Elementary School, and he has to go outside to trailers multiple times a week to facilitate or be facilitated for these gifted classes. If builders want to build communities, then they need to invest in school expansion, and that does not include adding more trailers. We're asking that the board provide an update to parents with schools that have trailers, so we know that they will stop being a solution for overcrowded schools. I've talked on this before. I went to school in Queens, New York back in the late 90s. There were metal detectors. I went through metal detectors every single day when I went to school, and I felt safe, and we didn't have shootings or knives brought into our school, and that was in the 90s. So we're way past that, and we're still fighting for protection in our schools. There has to be a solution to trailers, and we really need an update on it because I can't see the safety of my children as they're walking in and out of trailers to go to class throughout the day. Thank you for listening to us, and have a good night.
Next up, Mark Calloway, followed by Thomas Zimmerman. Mark Calloway, Thomas Zimmerman.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Shin Zimmerman. I'm a new resident here in Gwinnett County. I just moved here from Barrow County, where my two daughters attended Yargo Elementary School, which is just a stone's throw away from Appalachia High School. I can tell that security is foremost in everybody's mind right now, and that's what I'm here to talk about. I was very pleased to see all the efforts that this board and Gwinnett County Public Schools has taken to secure our students. And I was very interested in this Evolve AI-powered weapons detection technology. I'm an electrical engineer. I work on the design of AI data centers, and my curiosity got the best of me, and I looked into this technology. I found that there are some critical issues with this that I feel the moral obligation to bring to attention to this board. There is no peer-reviewed evidence that this technology can accurately and reliably detect a single object amongst a multitude of objects in close proximity, as in a student's book bag or pockets. It is an unresolved limitation of the scientific technique used in this technology and has been acknowledged as such by the researchers who developed it. I found this technique through the very patents that Evolve Weapons Holdings has filed for these scanners. If students have to stop and remove their bags or empty their pockets for independent scanning, why was this technology purchased at such a great cost in the first place over more conventional and inexpensive methods that require the same screening? Furthermore, there's only been one field study on the efficacy of this technology according to an NBC5 Investigates article. The results of this 2021 field test found it missed 2 micro-compact handguns during 2 pass-through attempts. The overall detection rate for knives was just 58%. Evolve did not publish that 52-page report created by the National Center for Spectator Sport Safety and Security, also known as NCS4, opting instead to publish a shortened 25-page report omitting any negative information about weapon scanners' ability to detect certain weapons. Additionally, the FTC has filed a complaint in 2024 against Evolve Technology Holdings and settled, alleging that the company misrepresented the performance of its artificial intelligence weapons detection systems. The FCC stated, Evolve deceived customers about the system's ability to detect weapons, distinguish harmless objects, and reduce false alarms. The same report explains that after a 2022 school stabbing when a 7-inch knife went undetected, Evolve increased the system's sensitivity.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have
Kathy.
that research here, if anyone wants to look.
Kathy Lowe, followed by Falana Nowak.
I've stood at this podium 3 times this year. On February 20th, when taxpayers expressed their disgust with your decision to opt out of House Bill 581, you opted out anyway. On May 15th, I stood here raising concerns about your $3.4 billion budget, which has ballooned 43% in just 4 years. You passed it anyway. Now, on November 4th, the voters finally get a say on whether or not to renew East Blast. And suddenly, GCPS seems worried. A Facebook post on October 13th warns that if East Blast is not renewed, property taxes could be raised. Another post on September 22nd claimed desks are at risk. You are so concerned that 2 high-level GCPS employees spoke at a megachurch in Sugar Hill on October 12th, clearly advocating for the referendum. I emailed the district's attorney about this advocacies and my concerns and received no response. Last week, my letter to the editor of the Gwinnett Daily Post was published. I gave 5 clear reasons I am voting no on East Bluffs: a ballooning budget, flat enrollment, 2 superintendent buyouts in 4 years, and rising property taxes. However, you conveniently omit that state law caps the millage rate, and we are nearly at that cap. But the core issue is this: you exist to educate students, and the most recent Georgia milestone scores are not a win. Yes, GCPS scored above the state average, but that bar is low. The most important score in a child's academic journey is 3rd grade ELA, and only 39% of our students are proficient. That's not a flex. And now there's a Substack circulating with troubling details about a high-level GCPS employee's expense account. That individual appears to have approved 2 of their own reimbursements, charged travel insurance, and billed $946 for a family member's airfare. Where is the oversight? I've been told this is under investigation, but it was 6 weeks ago. GCPS has eroded the trust of the taxpayer, and trust, once broken, doesn't come back easily. If you think voters are not paying attention, you are mistaken. If you think we'll keep funding failure, you're delusional.
Falana Nowak, followed by Sakaro Lai.
Good evening. It has been brought to my attention that despite community survey results, we are yet again piloting comprehensive sex education. The GADOE warned this doesn't align with the state standards. I agree children should be taught true biology. Children should be taught the correct anatomical names for their body parts. But what I object to is what you would be telling these kids and when. I have a copy of a slide that was in the Health Smart materials the first time this was considered. The slide states that a girl's vagina will stretch to accommodate a penis. This was in the materials for the 2nd grade, but that's just biology, right? According to the CDC, 1 in 4 girls experience child sexual abuse. I'm one of those 4. If my 2nd grade teacher, an adult I had trusted very much, said this to me, I would have thought what was happening at that time was normal. The abuser said so, my teacher said so. What world is it normal and considered biology for a 2nd grader to experience that? As mandatory reporters, your responsibility is to be that trusted adult a student can confide in. Hearing this from a teacher would have validated what I was experiencing. I would have never spoken out if I had heard my teacher say my body is supposed to do that. Aren't you telling us that we don't know about a person's lived experience and that we should consider all factors for that child's life? Are you considering the harm that may come of teaching and normalizing the mechanics of sex to a young child? Even a 5th grader would likely sit there and think, well, I guess it's okay since the teacher said it's normal and for pleasure. I know right now it's a pilot for 5th grade through 9th grade, but once you get this pushed through, you'll stop at nothing to get the whole curriculum in the schools at all grades because the people you have hand-selected to sit around your table want it. Curriculum materials are not carefully reviewed. A teacher alerted me to the Church of Scientology embedded in EL education just before they were going to teach it to the students, well after you approved the purchase of that curriculum. It contained links for the church itself, and y'all either played dumb or got caught and quietly had EL education remove that portion. Putting this in front of children as knowledge is reckless and could cause harm. Weren't we told during COVID if it could save just one life, it was worth it? I urge you and all the people evaluating this to consider the unintended consequences that will come from this, and I will continue to urge parents to use their right of refusal for participation. Thank you.
Sakara Lai, followed by Ryan Young.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Taylor, and community members. Tonight, I stand before you with three truths retaliation, discrimination, and accountability. They are not talking points. They are lived realities for many families in this district, including my own. First, retaliation. When parents speak up for their children, they should never be met with fear tactics or false child welfare reports. Yet here, advocacy has been twisted into accusation. That is not protection, that is persecution. If this board allows staff to weaponize defects referrals against parents who lawfully advocate for their children, then the problem is not families, it's the system. And if the board stays silent in the face of that abuse, then the silence becomes complicity. Second, discrimination. You cannot preach equity and excellence while practicing exclusion. When a child's disability, language, or background determines whether they are supported or sidelined, the district betrays its own mission. Families should not have to beg for the services that federal law already guarantees. True equity demands access, respect, and consistency, not selective criteria. Third, accountability. Transparency without accountability is theater, and taxpayers are done buying tickets. Since 2018, GCPS has paid MGT Consulting for EastBLOS audit studies and strategic reviews with little public disclosure of what taxpayers actually received. The GCPS Foundation continues to operate under the district's name without full transparency over donations, contracts, or conflicts of interest. And now you're asking the public to approve another round of EastBLOS on top of a $3.43 billion budget without a forensic audit of how the last one was spent. That isn't stewardship, it's negligence. Until every dollar is traceable, every contract transparent, and every audit independent, the answer must be clear, not a penny more. In closing, transparency without accountability is theater. Equity without access is hypocrisy. Silence in the face of retaliation is complicity. Gwinnett deserves courage over comfort, service over self, and truth over spin. Do better, because our students, our families, and our taxpayers deserve nothing less. And for those ready to turn concern into collective action, I've created gcpsconfidential@gmail.com, all lowercase, a confidential space for parents and taxpayers to begin monthly coffee bar conversations focused on transparency, ethics, and fiscal responsibility. No personal student data, no hostility, just truth, facts, and accountability. If the district cannot be trusted to police itself, then the community will. We won't be silenced, and we will be voting no on EastBLOS. Thank you.
Ryan Young, followed by Jessica Taylor.
Hello, Dr. Taylor and board members. Thank you for allowing us to speak here, as we all do, and brought up a lot of good concerns today. I have another one that I'd like to address as well. My name is Ryan Young. I'm a husband of a GCPS teacher and a father of 3 GCPS students. He's also a graduate of the county as well. The first thing I'd like to say is thank you for your support with a teacher's request for a transfer mid-year. It was your timely response and attention to the matter that allowed her to continue her commitment to GCPS and for the school system to retain a dedicated teacher. It is challenging that it came to a 11-year school. My words are difficult today. It's challenging that it came to this 11-year teacher turning in her resignation request for a mental health release for her contract and several different people reaching out to the board to get her placed. This teacher reached out to administration and HR for guidance and support, to which she was told she would not be placed in one of the 63 open positions in her, and her only option was to resign. You not only almost missed out on a career teacher, at the same time, you also have a student in distress where their real-time concerns and safeties are not being met. I am here to ask that the school board address the red tape and layers required to get these type of issues addressed at GCPS. You have employee issues and student concerns that are not being properly heard and acted on in a timely manner. solutions and suggestions. I wouldn't want to just stand here and then not offer any kind of solution, in my opinion. So I would ask the board to review the process in which for teachers that have concerns, and both sides of the concern should be heard. In this case, the administration was called to give their side of the story, and the teacher was never contacted to weigh in on the situation or to give their side. The same rules should apply to parent and student concerns. The current process appears to have too much red tape and is slowing down the response and action on issues that are important to our students and our teachers. Thank you.
Jessica Taylor, followed by Hassan Aziz.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jessica Taylor, and I'm here tonight as a deeply concerned parent about the district assessments currently being administered in our schools, specifically our fourth grade classrooms. 2 weeks ago, I visited my child's fourth grade school to complete a routine form. What I did not expect to learn after the fact that my student would be subjected to district assessment testing. I had no prior notice, no understanding of the time that would be spent on this test, no information about the subject matter or format. Immediately after leaving the school, I submitted a parent testing refusal via email and began researching what this assessment entailed. I called the school and district, spoke to over 5 Gwinnett administrators, and was told that if a student refuses to participate or is absent, an automatic 0 is entered into the grade book. Let me be clear, there is no published policy anywhere on the district website, in parent handbooks, or in school communications. This practice that it has been outlined and communicated to me exists nowhere. Informing parents of the refusal practices and what it means to be absent from a district assessment, that it will result in a 0, is nowhere to be found. And yet this is happening. Students are being penalized academically without any formal guidance or due process. Assigning a 0 in the grade book without a written policy anywhere, without informed consent, and without transparency is just not acceptable. It is actually a violation of academic rights. It undermines trust, erodes parental authority, and places students at risk of academic harm. I was told there would be a makeup period, but again, no published written guidance exists. While the school has acknowledged, and I'm grateful to be partnering with them to resolve my concerns, the district has not. There still remains an unwritten policy, one that has never been published or formally communicated anywhere on the Gwinnett website. This refusal to participate in district assessments and that it will result in a 0 is a silent practice that is impacting and penalizing students and also removing parental authority and consent. So tonight I'm asking for 3 things. Immediate publication of a formal district policy outlining the academic consequences of parent refusals or actually missing or being absent from a district assessment for 4th grade students. Additionally, clear opt-out procedures for parents, including how refusals are documented and how they affect student records. Additionally, a reassessment of the role and impact of district assessments for the 2025-2026 school year for our 4th grade students. These tests were designed, my understanding, to be a guide for teacher instruction, not to penalize students or obscure parental rights. Our children are being over-tested, our parents are being under-informed, and our district is operating without transparency on this front. I urge you to take swift action, restore clarity for parents, protect our student records, and respect the rights of our families in the community. Thank you.
Hassan Aziz, followed by Lucas Milton.
Good evening, I'm Hassan Aziz, and today I've come for several reasons. I've come here before, once 2 years ago, when my son and my daughter were assaulted in this premises by an employee, and that was never addressed. The former superintendent suppressed everything, including police reports, using his authority. I've come here again because discrimination is rampant. Suppression is one thing. You silence people who complain legitimately, including the principal and vice principal, and one of the vice principals had threatened me and my family and my children and said accidents can happen. 2 days later, my son had an accident. The first year alone, there were 7 incidents with no incident reports. That's the suppression, just to show the stats that school doesn't have any problem. Second year, at least 4 incidents. Curriculum-wise, and I need to have a meeting with all your board members, and I want to see where you guys come from, where I come from. You can't have a trespass letter in order to suppress people who complain in a rightful manner. That's wrong. That's unethical, it's immoral, and it purports to moral turpitude. Anyone who has moral turpitude is subject to be terminated from any position, from the board level all the way down. That's how I feel. Curriculum. First grade, last year, in math, proficiency would be, at the end of the academic year, to be able to count 1 to 20. My son knew millions. He knew Arabic numbers, Roman numbers, and the regular numbers in millions. Same thing with Romans. But that's the curriculum you have. As a 7th grade student, a 7-year-old boy who knows astrophysics, astronomy, higher math, nuclear physics, nuclear chemistry, you name it, medicine, at the medical school level. And you don't have a way of double promotion, you don't have a way of a good curriculum. I don't know who's doing the academics over here. When we went to school, we had double promotion options. But I've taught students, thousands of them, at all levels, all the way up to postdoctoral levels.
Thank you so much. Lucas Melton, followed by Tanisha Banks.
Hello, my name is Lucas Melton. I'm the founder and CEO of Mozzie Action, an advocacy organization in the state of Georgia. One of our key programs is called Parents to the Polls, in which we engage parents of school-age children around voting initiatives so that we can bring attention to things that are very, very important, not just to the school systems, but to the parents that send their children to school. Advocacy is a First Amendment right. Advocacy is what makes us American. So I commend those on this board who have advocated for policies, for funding, and for mechanisms that provide revenue that is needed in the Gwinnett County public school system. You see, and here in America, there's no law that says you need a forensic audit in order to fund programs. So yes, that could be a step that one could take, but that in itself is expensive, if you ask me, and it's extraneous to the actual process. To talk about whether or not we should be providing resources to children so that they are not shot at school is very, very trivial to me. Here in America, we live in a society where our neighbors are just as important to us as the next person. So people who don't want to make sure that their neighbors are taken care of and that the community is safe should probably take advantage of some of the vast camping lands that we have in America and move to a secluded place where they can grow their own food and they can live alone and they don't have to worry about the people that are next to them and their public safety. But when you live in a society where there are stoplights, when there are buildings, where there are people, some things in a modern society we cannot justify not funding. And one of those things is safety inside our school systems. So I want to say thank you for those of you on this board who are using your ability to advocate as voters, because all of you live in Georgia, all of you are voters, all of you have a First Amendment right. And as long as you don't sit on this board and say what someone at the state level should do, then I applaud those who use their voice as voters in a world where civic engagement is needed to address concerns about things that could really, really be bad for the public safety. So in closing, you can pay more for dinner on Friday night, but we cannot pay more for more children. That is a cost we cannot afford to pay. So I would continue to urge those on this board to find solutions that funds things that keeps our children and our society safe. Thank you.
Tanisha Banks.
Good evening, board members. What is EastPlus? EastPlus stands for Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, a 1-cent sales tax that every shopper in Gwinnett County contributes to. That means every time someone buys something in our community, whether they live here or just visiting, 1 penny of every dollar goes directly to improving our public schools. This funding doesn't come from property taxes. Instead, it's a fair way for everyone who spends money in Gwinnett to help support our students. EastPlus helps build and renovate schools, reduce overcrowding, upgrade safety and security systems, and provide up-to-date technology for classrooms. It also funds school buses, athletic facilities, and major repairs, all without increasing local property taxes. Since 1997, Gwinnett County voters have repeatedly approved EastPlus because they've seen the results: new schools, modern learning spaces, a safer, better equipped environments for students and teachers. In fact, Gwinnett voters have approved 6 previous education EastPlus referendums in 1997, 2001, 2006, 2011, 2015, and 2020, and now we're in 2025. Let's be honest, EastPlus has passed in Gwinnett County since the 1990s. Every few years, our community has agreed that 1 penny on the dollar is worth it to invest in our kids. So why now? All of a sudden, is 1 cent too much? I'll tell you why. There is an active MAGA right-wing cult agenda to sabotage EastPlus to cause chaos and confusion for this board. This has never happened in the history of Gwinnett until the board became just a little bit more brown. This anti-EastPlus campaign is rooted in racism. It is racism, and I'm calling it out. Our students shouldn't be used as political pawns or caught in anyone's agenda. Supporting EastPlus isn't about politics, it's about people. It's about giving every child, no matter their background, the chance to learn in a safe, modern school. When we say yes to EastPlus, we're saying yes to our future, our teachers, and our community. 1 penny at a time, we build something bigger together. If you think that 1 penny on the dollar is too much to invest in our children, I am giving you the side eye. When you vote yes for EastPlus, you're voting to invest in our children, protect our tax dollars, and strengthen the future of our community. So remember, 1 penny makes a big difference in helping every student in Gwinnett succeed. Vote yes on EastPlus and side eye MAGA. I also do believe in fiscal responsibility, and I do believe there needs to be transparency and an audit to make sure that the money goes where it's supposed to go, and we need to see it. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you for your comments. Now we will have remarks and comments from board members.
Thank you, Chairwoman Dr. Simmons, and I want to take another point of personal privilege to acknowledge the temperature in here. It is freezing. The next thing I would like to acknowledge and congratulate 3 schools in District 1, Tripp Elementary, for winning the Title I Schools Award. We talked about in our working session how Title I schools make up the highest demographic of our class of 2025. I also want to re-highlight Archer High School and Grayson High School for achieving graduation rates of over 90%. So congratulations to those schools. Now I'll talk about a little about events I had the opportunity to attend since our last board meeting. Recently, I attended a language summit hosted by a local organization. And there I was encouraged to continue championing a language policy that the GCPS Policy Committee is currently, as of Monday, we passed out of committee. And the purpose of this policy is to support not only our multilingual students, but also their families. So I look forward to continuing to engage in that process. And then I truly believe that speaking, as an aside, I believe that speaking multiple languages is a superpower. It is an asset. And I will continue championing outcomes for our multilingual students. I also want to talk about East Bluffs. I had the opportunity to attend a Decula City Council meeting. I want to give a special shout out to Patrick Burke. He did a phenomenal job on his presentation. I actually learned a lot about East Bluffs. I learned that some of our buses have backup cameras. That was something I did not know, so thank you for sharing that. And that is what East Bluffs dollars pay for. Also, classroom additions. In District 1, the Archer Cluster has had an opportunity to benefit from the current SPLOST through Harbins Elementary, a new addition, Archer High School, and last but not least, the Mary Kay Murphy Middle School, which is set to open next school year. East Bluffs also pays for safety and security. We've been talking about that all, or been hearing echoing about the importance of safety and security measures. Per Mr. Burke's presentation, I was not aware that East Bluffs dollars are used to pay for police response vehicles that help secure our schools, the license verification cameras or the devices. So when you enter a building, there is a small device where visitors must insert their driver's license. East Bluffs helps pay for those dollars. HVAC, this board just tonight just passed some consent agenda items on HVAC, McGill Elementary. HVAC upgrades, and I think with roof replacements at Decula Middle School and Fort Daniel, also pays for carpeting. So all the things, East Bluffs does not, it is not an additional tax, not a property tax. So when you think of property taxes, millage rate, House Bill 581, that is not what East Bluffs is. And as your board member, I cannot encourage or sway how folks should vote on November 4th, but please know that these dollars are going directly into our classrooms. And then last but not least, I want to close with an article one of my colleagues shared with me this week about an attack on special education resources. And I normally do not comment on things happening at the federal level because I try to stay local. But one thing I will say, I am committed to protecting critical resources for our students, particularly in this case, access to special education services. For many of you all know, I served as a special education teacher right here in GCPS. I still hold my license to teach special education. And back in September, I had the opportunity to join school board members from across this state to fight to protect resources for our students with disabilities, our economically disadvantaged students. And in February, at the state level, I stood with special education advocates to protect Section 504 rights. And I just want to make something very clear, that any campaigns to take away critical resources from our children, especially our most vulnerable children, is absolutely unacceptable and disgusting. As mentioned today, our children are not political pawns. This is and has never been a game. And so I remain committed to safeguarding our children's rights and protecting them from what I like to call political bull shenanigans. And on that note, I want to thank everyone for attending this meeting, making their voices heard. I hope you all have the most amazing night and that you will make plans to vote by November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stone. Thank you for everyone who came out this evening, for sharing your comments. We appreciate it. We need to hear from you and are willing to look at all the things that are brought up when you take the time to come and speak with us. I just want to make this quick. Today we had one session in our work session about graduation rates for the class of 2025. It was up over 1% to 85.7%, the highest in over 10 years. We're crawling back from the COVID years, and but we're not without headwinds. But I want to put a shout out to all of our teachers and all of those who support our teachers. And I think that covers every one of the 24,000 teammates that are here at GCPS, because it's a team job. Nobody does this on their own. No principal does this on their own. No teacher, no staff member. It is truly a team effort. And I just want to say I'm proud of the work that we've done, and that we're not finished. And we'll continue to see that and work to see that number increase. Congrats to our schools that had over a 90%, which is our desired KPI for 2027 for all of our schools. And so it's exciting to see that many of them are at that level, and will strive to maintain that. The last thing I want to say is concerning East Blost. Early voting started a couple days ago. So it is your opportunity to go out and vote. East Blost is very specific. It's capital related. And when you look at the ballot, it lists where the money's going to go. It's been that way every time we've done East Blost. There's a tiny bit of flexibility, not a lot. And so what we put there and ask the voters to approve of is where that money goes. It's based upon the planning that our planning department does. Our planning department is really, really good. Not perfect, but really, really good. And they hit their mark, or hit within a close proximity of their mark most of the time. I've been amazed in my 7 years on the board to see how close they come to planning and what actually then happens. So read the ballot. Look at where the money's going. It's going to safety and security. It's going to maintenance. We had a recent presentation 25 years ago to 15 years ago. Over that 10-year period, we added 12 million square feet under roof in Gwinnett County for our students, and to make sure that they had classrooms and gymnasiums and all the things that they needed for an education. Some of those, half of that square footage basically is 20 years old or more. And over the next 5 years, the rest of it is going to be 20 years old. Who hasn't replaced an air conditioner or a roof or done the various things on their home in the last 20 years? We are not growing like we used to, so you're not going to see a list of a lot of new buildings, but you are going to see maintenance. And it's going to take a lot to maintain the 180 buildings that we have in Gwinnett County. It's going to take a lot to figure out how to get rid of trailers and how to move our kids into classrooms and do all those different things. But there's a lot of misconceptions out there as to what's going on. I have a constituent who told me that two wasteful scenarios that she presented was the same as our annual tax receipts from East Blost. She was only 2 zeros off. She mentioned $2.5 million in waste and thought it was the same that we get every year. We get over $200 million, actually closer to $260 million from East Blost. And it all goes to maintain our capital assets. So if you want lower property taxes, it's not going to come from voting against East Blost, because that is one of the ways that we can come up with the revenue to keep our school system afloat. And if you want property taxes and you vote against East Blost and our school system goes in the direction that you apparently want it to go, you're going to pay lower property taxes. Now, I can't tell you how to vote on East Blost, but I would encourage you to go vote, read the list, see where the money's going, and vote your conscience. Have a great night.
My fellow board members did a good job kind of taking the steam out of my comments, so mine are going to be really short because I don't want to sound like a broken record and repeat other comments. But regardless of that, also, thank you to all of the speakers that came out tonight to have your comments heard and your voice heard, and also thank you to the staff that put together our presentation today, talking about our class of 2025 and the graduation data. And I too celebrate our graduation data this year. Our class of 2025 represented the highest graduation rate in 10 years. definitely a lot to celebrate, but there's obviously still work to do, and we're going to do it. I know right now we're kind of deep in the Evolve system rollout. There's obviously learning curves that come with that, but our goal is to be finished, hopefully by the first quarter of next year, and I've heard great things about it. The system is working. I heard from one of our high schools today that they got through about 1,400 bus riders in 15 minutes with the Evolve system. So we know it's working, we know it's effective, and happy to hear that. Again, East Blast, I've hearing some early data, and East Blast is one of those things where it's that 1% sales tax that also is captured not only by us residents that live in Gwinnett County, but folks that pass through. And some data that I'm hearing is between 33 and 40% of non-residents contribute to that 1%. So November 3rd is Election Day. Please get out and vote, have your voice heard, and y'all have a great night. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you to our fellow board members, and thank you to our community who came out to speak today. I encourage you all to please share your comments with our board, with our school systems, follow up via email. Send an email. Many of you wrote your speeches. Put it in an email and request follow-up. I also want to share, this week I visited a school. I visited Meadow Creek High School and participated in their event to celebrate Hispanic heritage. And they had this celebration called Quinceañeras y Libros. And it was such an amazing opportunity to see students share about books they read from Hispanic, Latin authors. And they wrote a book report. And then they were also able to walk sort of like on a runway and share their culture, their heritage, and even some personal stories around how celebrating who they are is so meaningful to them. And so it was just a wonderful moment with community members, family members were there, and students were there. And I think, sometimes when we focus so much on academics, we also understand how important it is to just celebrate those other extracurricular things that can also help children feel like they belong. And those ceremonies like that and celebrations may not seem as a big deal for some people, but it really meant so much to those children. And so for people in our school systems who take the time to celebrate the culture of all of our children and who they are and celebrate them, I commend you and encourage you to please continue to do that. We listened to mariachi, and I was able to sing De Colores, which is one of my favorite songs that I sang in Puerto Rico. So it was a really beautiful experience to even connect with the students and their families. So again, I just appreciate the opportunity that the schools provide to our board members and the system provides to our board members to actually go and visit our schools when we can. And I just think it's so very important, and continue to encourage our board to do those things. October is also Dyslexia Awareness Month, and I just want to continue to share our commitment at GCPS around literacy, investing in the needs for our children, making sure we're promoting the resources that are necessary, and also ensuring that there's a supportive and inclusive environment for our students. We know that we've come a long way, and we still have more work to do in the area around literacy and supporting the needs of our dyslexia students. I also want to share that this week we had an online feedback session from the ALMA group, and this session was for the superintendent search process, and it allowed community members that were not able to physically attend any of the sessions that we had for them to be able to attend virtually. And I want to share that I was in the room where it was all Spanish language, and again, it was another opportunity for a community that really it's like 21% representation of our students speak Spanish, and to have the family members in the room really share in their language, their concerns, and share what they were looking for and their needs. But one of the most impactful things that I heard in that session, and even in the in-person session, was, wow, this is the first time that I have a space to be able to share my language and how I feel, and to be able to voice my concerns. And I think little things like that, when we give opportunities to our community members that have been marginalized, and not just Spanish or other languages, of course, that we have in Gwinnett County, but for the number of people who signed up for that session, we had quite a bit of Spanish speakers. And so I just want to continue to encourage our school system, our community, to engage, even if English is not your first language. Your voices matter. We need to hear your feedback, your concern in the superintendent search process. This is really important that your voices are also engaged and included, even though you don't speak English. Send an email in Spanish, send it an email in Arabic, send an email in whatever language, French, Mandarin, Korean, Vietnamese, and our system will translate it and we'll figure it out and understand your needs, but just know that don't let that be a barrier to you. And then finally, I want to make some comments around belonging and connect it to the environment. When we invest in the environment of our children, we ensure that there's a space where they feel safe and secure. When children feel safe and secure physically, mentally, emotionally, they have a sense of belonging. Investing in East Blos encourages a space of belonging for our students. When we have carpets that are clean, when we have facilities that have good air systems, our children are healthy, right? When we have investments in our technology improvements, our students then become, have the opportunity to become more competitive globally because we are investing in the most update technology. When we invest in our CTEA programs, that also gives an opportunity for our students to be ready for a career and life outside of GCPS. So investing in that 1 cent is so critically important for our schools, and it creates an environment of belonging where our students can walk into a space and feel like it's safe, it's clean, and that they're cared for. And I just don't want us to be not aware of the importance of that 1 cent tax for investing in our schools. So I encourage you all to go out and vote early. We are now in early voting. Early voting is now through October 31st, so go vote early. Vote now, vote tomorrow. I also encourage you all to research your issues, learn more about East Blos on our website, watch the videos. You all will see the impact on the GCPS website to East Blos. And again, your vote is your voice. Thank you.
Thank you all for your comments. Thank you to our community for coming out this evening and for your comments as well, just to elevate the importance of the vote. A part of our responsibility as a school system is to educate students on civic responsibilities. So I just encourage you all to go ahead and pursue and implement your right to vote on November the 4th. No later than, of course, early voting has begun. I believe there are several sites open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so we would be remiss as a Board of Education if we did not encourage you to exercise your right to vote as a civic responsibility. My colleagues have shared the importance of this vote and how East Blos dollars are used, so I will not spend time there, but please exercise your right to vote now through November the 4th. I do want to share some opportunities that are available in response to comments this evening. There's a theme that kind of rang out for me around transparency. And our board and district, I feel, have definitely made some significant strides around being transparent. For example, we have a budget book that is now available on our website that was not available before this year. We have a family advisory council that started up this August that I believe provides us an opportunity to have two-way communication from the district to stakeholders, from stakeholders and families to the district. This is another way that we can be transparent in what's working well and where we have some challenges. So I do invite families to come out to our next Family Advisory Council, which will be held November the 6th. We do ask that you register by October 30th, and that meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. It's open to any and every family. So please take advantage of that opportunity. I hear people coming and sharing their concerns and wanting more transparency. That is a platform where you can come and have some open dialogue with district staff around some of the challenges and what we could be working to address. As it pertains to East Bluffs, I know we don't know the outcomes of the vote just yet, but I think there could be opportunity there for us to leverage an oversight committee if that is something that is passed, in terms of just having citizens that come and meet with our superintendent, maybe monthly, to hear how the funds are being used. I heard that as a concern or a want this evening. I feel that our board and our district are very open to being responsive to feedback. This is something that I hear was successful in a surrounding district, and that stakeholders wanted to know how you're spending our funds, so the district provided that opportunity. I just feel that we are a board and a governance team that wants to be responsive to the people. So I appreciate all the feedback that we got this evening, and just wanted to uplift that we have made some strides, even in our working sessions. There was once a time when graduation rate data, we didn't hear how subgroups performed. We didn't know how special education kids performed compared to Black kids, compared to white kids. That information was not made available. Now it's commonplace. That is a stride toward being more transparent, so that we can identify what's working well and what areas we need to improve upon. So we've come a long way. Do we still have a ways to go? We certainly do, but I believe we have a governance team that's willing to go the distance and to be responsive. So thank you for all your comments this evening. And with that, Dr. Taylor, I turn it over to you.
Certainly. So I'll just ditto what everyone has said. There are three things that I do want to just, from a thank you perspective, I always want to thank those who stayed, who shared. It's very important to hear directly from those who our decisions are impacting and getting that real ground level truth in your experience. So I definitely appreciate you all, appreciate staff who are incredibly responsive or try to be responsive to your needs, and when we're not, we want to know when we're not and when we're falling short. So thank you to the staff who are here. Thank you to the staff who across our district who support our 180,000 plus kids. This is it's heavy work, but we enjoy every minute of it. This is also, today is, the second thing is, this is Boss's Day. So if you have not had a chance to thank your boss at work, or whoever you call boss in your house, it goes a long way. And so to that, definitely want to thank the 5 individuals that I get a chance to serve. We definitely appreciate the work that you do. It's heavy work, but we see how well you all are trying to come together, and it's coming together at the perfect time. And so I really look forward to how we move forward together as a district. Finally, this is, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And just want to honor those who, we've lost to the terrible disease, but also want to salute those who survived and who are courageously fighting. We're in that fight with you, our thoughts and prayers, and we wish this goes away, but, and I've often said that the reason, part of my why, we are training up the potential researchers in our student body who might be the ones who actually resolve and cure cancer and and other diseases and challenges. So our work is incredibly important for that reason, if no other reason, just for that reason. So definitely want to end with a big thank you and a salute to those who are battling the disease, and honor the memory of those who aren't. And appreciate you all for your obvious commitment to K-12 education in Gwinnett County Public Schools. We can't do this work without you.
All right, if there's no other business, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn this business meeting of the Gwinnett County Board of Education.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Mr. Knutson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Thank you all for attending tonight's board meeting. The board, Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor, and I appreciate your attendance and interest in Gwinnett County Public Schools. As our public meeting has concluded, this facility will be closing in 20 minutes. Thank you for being with us tonight, and drive home safely. This meeting is adjourned.